on August 14th, 2023. And we'll move to the second agenda item, Pledge of Allegiance. All rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you very much. And agenda item number 3 is approval of minutes from our June 21st, 2023 meeting. We did not have a July meeting. Any comments on the minutes? One note I had, and it's in 7B, is it has here that we were reviewing. There's notice to the commission of the resignation of a detective. If I remember, it was a retirement of a detective. So I think that might be one change to make, is just that we acknowledge the retirement of a detective instead of a resignation. Any other comments on the minutes? I'll move to amend the minutes as stated to change the resignation to a retirement and move to approve the amended minutes. Second. Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Agenda item number 4 is public appearances for non-agenda items. I don't believe we don't have anyone in the room, and I don't believe we've got anyone, well, I take that back. We have Alder Wheeler joining us. Alder, anything on a non-agenda item?
Public
Would you like to
hearings?
discuss?
Oh, well, thank you.
Sure, yeah, come on. Perfect timing.
We're going to take the opportunity now to speak. We're moving along with the police facility. You know, we have the architect. We had our first public meeting. I think it went pretty well. You know, we were going to talk about different options that can come forward to the council. One's going to be the $35 million option that we already have the funding for, $40 million option, and then their cost of $44 million. So I've been trying to actually let people know that a police facility is more purpose-built. Everything within that facility is pretty much going to be used for a specific function. You know, like your evidence, your armory, you know, all the good stuff. You know, evidence collection and everything else like that, an evidence room. So there really wouldn't be much to cut out. You know, like you have other projects and you say, well, maybe, you know, like we take off the roof of the basketball court or something like that. I don't think it's going to be much to do with the police department. Actually, I think probably most of the costs come in with the design of the building, you know, with building materials and everything, and maybe it can be some cuts there. But I do think that, you know, some of the things, maybe the underground parking, people may want to say, oh, you don't need that, but I would definitely disagree.
What's the reason for underground parking for police in particular?
In a controlled environment, weather-controlled environment. Right now, all of our squad cars are parked outside. Night and day, any season, they're all parked outside, and we have very limited indoor parking. So the purpose behind indoor parking is to obviously keep them warm in the winter, relatively cool in the summer. It also allows us to be able to plug those vehicles in so we're not sitting there having to have them idle in the back parking lot, to maintain all of the equipment, to keep squad computers on, radars functioning, those types of things. So if they were all in a nice controlled environment, we'd be able to plug them in to maintain all of those pieces of equipment and then be able to leave.
And we had an officer literally fall on the ice going out to a squad
Several times.
and several times. So there's law enforcement purpose behind an enclosed or underground parking facility.
Well, just like the fire trucks, you have to be ready to respond. And if I have to go and chip the ice off the car,
We've had a chief.
it's going to be a little delayed.
Fall on the ice recently.
Yeah.
Because he had to get his vehicle.
Yeah, I think we're in Wisconsin. It snows. There's ice.
Absolutely.
It's not an unrealistic request.
So the next meeting is October 10th. So if anybody, please watch. They'll be on VAC TV. Please watch. We want as much support or input as possible. So if you think of anything, people out in the public, just let us know.
Do you have a date as of right now, an anticipated start date for construction?
Not yet.
Okay, to be determined.
Yes.
There's also going to be a presentation by the police department on next week, Tuesday's city council meeting, as far as processes, timeline, those types of things. I encourage anybody to watch.
That's fantastic.
So I have.
Well, thank you for coming and sharing that,
Yeah,
right? Get the word out. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Any other public appearances for non-agenda items? Okay, fair enough. Let's move to agenda item number 5, report from Fire Department. Chief Pulvermacher.
Yeah, so one of the things that we recently posted, and I apologize because I forgot that Sarah wasn't working today. So the July edition of the newsletter is going to be sent out to department heads and to the council today yet, actually, probably when I'm done here. However, it is posted to the city's website already. So if you wanted to follow along with that, it does provide the most recent numbers. One of the things that I did with this newsletter is to describe what a combination fire department is. Some people ask that question as far as hearing the description of the Fitchburg Fire Department. And as a combination department, we have both career and part-time personnel. And also wanted to address the overall need to take into consideration the overall ratio of full-time versus part-time firefighters based on what we're seeing with recruitment, not only locally, but it is a nationwide issue. Our numbers are consistent. We're up slightly, which is predictable based on what we anticipated with Town of Madison and with community growth. So everything from call volume to the number of inspections that we are responsible for has gone up slightly. And then providing a little bit of information in there as far as inspections to date, sharing with the council and with the Police and Fire Commission a recent fire sprinkler save that we had, and then trying to address the overall number of firefighters that we still have vacant on the paid-on-call, paid-on-premises side. We just recently had our paid-on-call class, the most recent Recruit Academy, graduate, so all of them passed. That was 6 firefighters that are going through their ride-along time now and will be counted as staffing here as we get to the end of summer. The overall organizational chart is one that we are working with our staffing plan. I don't know if you had a chance to see that. I know that Sarah had shared the overall staffing study from Baker Tilly. At the end of that staffing study, there was our staffing plan that puts into context some of the things that are our biggest priorities. So hopefully, in the next 3 to 5 years, we'll see the ability to at least justify 10 positions, career positions that is. So it'll give us a good start, and then hopefully we can keep up with the pace of our city growth and continually hire as call volume increases. And there's a number of other things that we can take into consideration based on what I believe is going to happen next, which is a public safety specific study. I think that's going to be a recommendation anyway. I know it was a recommendation from Baker Tilly that more information was needed in order to justify some of the things that we're seeing on the public safety side. And it was addressed as an urgent issue. Also shared a couple of things that we've done over the past month, and then lastly, shared the passing of one of our retired members, Lieutenant Nick Meyer, who had 29 years on the department. He passed away in July, and his services were this last Saturday. So we had a presence at his services. Other than that, that's the overall staffing report. Is there anything with the report that stood out or any questions that need to be answered?
Just catching up on July. I like that that's available on the website now. I don't know if that's always been, but I didn't know that was.
We've had it out there for we started it in July, so we didn't have a meeting this last month, so we put it out there then.
All right, any questions for Chief on the staffing report?
And the other thing is we also post that to our Facebook account when it's done.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. Thank you.
Okay. Well, then we'll move to agenda item 5B. Does anyone want to take us into closed session?
So pursuant to section 1985, sub 1, sub C, Wisconsin statutes, the commission will move into closed session for the purpose of considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. More specifically, to make a hiring recommendation for career firefighter in the mid-year hire if the mid-year hire is approved by council on August 22nd, 2023.
I'll second. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor of moving into closed session, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we will move into closed session, please. All right, Chief Morales, can you hear us now?
Yes, I can.
We might not be able to hear you, but you can hear us. Okay, fair enough. Then we are out of closed session and we'll move to agenda item 5C. Any action coming out of closed session?
I will make a motion that, based on the chief's recommendation, we move to open employment for a full-time career firefighter position based on the chief's recommendation.
Can I make a friendly amendment, perhaps, to just change that to be extend a conditional offer
Yes.
specifically? I don't know if open
Yes.
a position is the same, but.
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah,
Let's
yes.
extend, yep, conditional offer.
I'll second. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Any other action coming out of closed session for the fire department? Okay, we'll move to agenda item 6A, staffing report from the police department. Deputy Chief Leahy, please.
Absolutely, thank you. As you can probably see, we have a number of vacancies still. Now with the retirement of Detective Coffey, our vacancies have gone to 7. However, we did recently hire 2 police officers who just started the academy today. That academy is at Madison College. It'll run from today until December 15th, when they'll hopefully graduate without any kind of issue at the academy and start in the field training process. And it's exciting for us. We'll most likely open up another hiring process for police officer position, hopefully sometime in the next month or so. So we'll see where the timing lands on that one.
For police officer?
Yeah,
Wasn't that a continuous?
another hiring process. Like we'll bring in the applications. We'll do another
A bigger push, right? 'Cause
yeah,
that
bigger
process-
hiring process.
Okay.
Yeah, that is obviously absolutely ongoing. It's just coordinating the actual panel interviews, chiefs interviews, accepting the applications. One thing to note out of the ongoing application process, and we just had this in the personnel committee meeting last week, was normally prior to the ongoing recruitment efforts, we normally would have about 125 police officer applicants for every hiring process that we've done. And we've had this ongoing recruitment open for just over a year now. And the total has been about 180 total over a year, a little over a year. So police officer applications are definitely down, and our staffing is impacted by that for sure. Not only us, but all of law enforcement currently. Does anybody have any questions on the sworn staffing report? One thing to note, it should be 12 unfilled positions. We do have one officer that's on restricted duty, light duty specifically. So, in addition to the sergeant who's on light duty from injury. Okay. Any questions there? Obviously, the July 2023 overtime report is pretty status quo for most months this year. It's up from last year, and that makes sense due to our sworn staff amounts are up by one. We did have a couple officers that were out for about a 3-week period for military assignment. So we'll be getting both of those officers back so they can get back onto their shifts. So hopefully it'll reduce some of the overtime that was faced last month.
When you share this with City Council and the chief's budget, does he put a monetary amount on this hours?
The actual dollar amount to coincide with the 827 hours. It's kind of hard to put an exact dollar amount because it's varying amounts for every. I mean, we could probably put an average of the total costs, and finance definitely knows the total cost that they're pumping out.
As long as it's shared with.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a good point. Make it easy.
And then the monthly summary, that's also from June. July's will be available tomorrow via the website as well.
Lots of shootings in the month of June, and so thank you and to the whole service for addressing those, as with everything, but in particular those. And then it's neat to see the federal sentencing of an individual that you put away based on kind of a multi-jurisdictional effort to stop gun violence.
Absolutely.
So thank you for that.
There's been a concerted effort from our department along with the U.S. Attorney's Office to reduce gun violence in and around Dane County, and we've had some success from our investigative bureau to bring some of those charges forth on the federal sentencing side. And then also of note, not in the monthly summary, but we do have our community night out that's scheduled for this Wednesday at McKee Farms Park. I encourage everybody, if you're looking for an opportunity to engage with some police officers and other community organizations, feel free to come out on Wednesday. We're trying to build on the success that we had from last year. I know last year's was probably one of the better community night outs that we've had for the police department. So I highly encourage everybody to show up. And
What time does that start?
I believe it starts at 5.
5 to 8.
5 to 8.
5 to 8
At
on
McKee
Wednesday.
Farms.
Yeah.
Okay.
The chief of police will be there too. So
All right.
see a celebrity if you want to.
Any questions for the deputy?
Deputy Chief.
Deputy Chief.
Sean.
All right. Thank you, sir. Let's move to agenda item 5B. Does anyone want to take us into closed session?
Pursuant to section 19.851C Wisconsin statutes, the commission will move into closed session for the purpose of considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility, more specifically to notice the commission of the termination of a police officer, to remove the probationary status of a police officer, authorization to extend an employment offer for a police sergeant, and the establishment of a sergeant eligibility list.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Just for clarification, that is actually item 6B. 6B.
Oh, thank you. Correct. All right, all those in favor of entering into closed session, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. All right, Chief Morales, we will mute you as well. All right, congratulations, Officer Stefanski, and again, thank you for your service. Any other action coming out of closed session?
I will move that we authorize Chief Morales to promote a current police officer to the rank of sergeant.
I will second that, and Chief Morales will make the phone call.
Do we have Chief unmuted?
Oh, no. Chief Morales.
All right, so we have a motion to approve the chief's recommendation to promote an individual to police sergeant, and a second.
Yes.
Any discussion? All right, all those in favor raise your hand and say aye. Aye. All right, congratulations to that individual. Any other action coming out of closed session?
I have a motion for 1-year eligibility list for sergeant for one individual based on recommendation from the chief of police.
I will second that.
Okay, any further discussion on that? Okay, all those in favor raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None? Okay, any other action coming out of closed session? Okay, then we will move to agenda item number 7, which is announcements. The Deputy Chief mentioned already, but we have the Community Night Out, I think it's called.
Yes, it is.
This upcoming Wednesday, so we'd love to see a big crowd there like in past years. Any other announcements? Okay.
Move adjournment.
I'll second. Any discussion on adjournment? All those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. We are adjourned. Thank you.